We were too busy chatting, and then we got caught up in our chatting, and now we're a minute late. So sorry for all of you who missed us for that 1 minute. I'm sure it was all of 6 of you, or 7 of you, or none of you. I don't know which one it was, but it's okay.
Basically, you're having too much fun
We're
being
having
on.
too much fun. Way too much fun. Always too much fun. How's everybody doing tonight? How you guys hanging out? Hanging out with your wangs out? It's not
That's
hot
a
in
new
my
one.
apartment anymore, so I can actually do this with my pants on now, which is awesome. So
Wow.
Wow, was it too hot to do it with your pants on before?
oh, it was like way too hot to do anything. You just sat here and you were just like losing weight. You know what I mean? It's just so hot.
I mean, that's kind of a good thing, right?
It is, but like, you know how much water you have to drink just to stay hydrated for that shit? It's just it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I'm doing. Lots of water. I swear it's
Lots of
water.
water. Yeah. Which one do you drink more, wine or water?
Um, when I'm by myself, it's water all the time. When anybody else is around, it's wine all the time.
So does that include like your dog?
I mean, he doesn't like wine. I know this. Uh, no, it's I don't know.
Does he like peanut butter?
It would be a seriously alcoholic issue for me if I was opening wine all the time. Plus, I only have really nice bottles of wine now, so I don't have any cheap ones. So I'm like
Oh,
trying pretty hard to not go through them.
gotcha.
Save them for special occasions.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
What about you, Kenny? How much beer you drink in comparison to water? Huh? Huh? Tell me the
I
truth.
don't know. 50-50 maybe.
50-50?
So
Ah,
you're
you know.
saying your body is 40% beer, 40% water,
And 20%.
20% man. Yeah, I know, right?
How was everyone tonight? Good.
Good, 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 good. Um. Anyway, so Dan, what are we doing today? Yeah, I know, right?
Hey, we're live. Oh shit. I didn't mean to make that. Damn it.
What happened?
I went ahead and like the probably loop inside of the stream. Anyways, I accidentally opened up the YouTube channel because sometimes it's all like, it's all like, uh, it's like YouTube immediately starts playing. So when you open up the channel, it's just boom, like us talking in my stupid voice. And then I was like, whoa, and I muted it real quick. So, but anyways, to answer your question, Ryan, tonight we have a very special episode for you guys. I think we have a very special episode every time, but this one is just as
Very
special, if not more special. We're going to go through the mix that Ryan John delivered for the Hey Randy, what's up, man? We're going to go through the mix that Ryan John delivered for this mix competition track that you guys received, I want to say a week and a half ago. Ryan did a crazy, crazy awesome mix job on this to the point where I think it's Kenny's like most favorite song ever. Pretty sure, actually.
It's up there.
But it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And
I feel like I kind of helped. Remember?
You did because I know that when I was working on this, I kept sending it to you guys to get comments, suggestions, and stuff.
Yeah. And so, if it sounds good, then
It's your
Yeah.
fault.
I'm
If it sounds
partially
bad, it's my fault. But if it sounds good, you did it. Right?
yeah. If it sounds good, I definitely helped.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So we're going to be going through that tonight. So we're basically giving you the keys to winning this contest.
Yeah, this is like
No,
This
that's
is-
not true. We're giving you the keys to achieving my exact mix. Which
is this
now
even
I
a good
was-
idea, guys?
God, that was garbage.
So Ryan, if you submitted this mix as a Mix Wednesday student, would you have won this mix contest?
The band
No,
was judging.
I wouldn't have. Well, actually, yeah, if the band was judging, I would have because they fucking loved it.
Yeah.
But
But now we're getting to like a Back to the Future thing.
now it's a Back to the Future thing, and like now that we're in it now, I would expect even more from it than I would have then.
Oh, I see.
I guess it all depends on what everyone else's sounds like, right?
So
It's a
future
comp-
Ryan would be a critical dick to past Ryan, Back to the Future Ryan, right?
Definitely, definitely.
Always.
Always.
I would be like Grandpa Biff, yelling at myself when I give myself the book.
Yeah. Yelling at Griff. Gramps.
Blow your fucking minds for a second. Check out what I got here, dude.
Oh, I saw that. That's
How
awesome.
fucking
Oh,
awesome.
that's the
And you still don't know who got that for you, right?
I have no idea who got this for me, man.
That's
That
awesome.
sucks because I want to know where that person got it.
Yeah, it's amazing, but it's like
Is it a
every art.
real newspaper?
Yeah, it's a proper newspaper. I mean, it's not like it's got anything in it. It's just got a giant ad for Jaws 19 inside it.
Oh, that's awesome.
For those of you who can't really see what's going on, Ryan,
Appers.
Ryan, tell them what it is. Tell them what it is.
This is the newspaper from the future in Back to the Future.
And it'd be cool if it was like holographic because you know how it changes in the movie. But I'm kind of glad it doesn't
Right.
because
Yeah.
that'd be like too much.
Honestly, they would probably cost like $1,000. But anyways, back on topic. Yeah,
You guys
Future
see
Me
my
goes.
blister, by the way?
My old mix was okay. It translated the song really well, but I listen to it now and I'm like, man, the snare could have just had more intensity.
Yeah.
That's actually the only part of it that stands out to me where I'm like, oh man, the snare could have had more intensity.
Huh. Really? I feel like
yeah,
that's a pretty solid mix. I don't know, man. Like,
That might
So-
be just like where your head is right now, though, because
Yeah.
you're doing like
yeah.
Kiss 108 mixes, and this should be like I don't know.
That's something else. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I would get myself in trouble if I said like Magic 106.7, but
I don't think anyone would be mad at you for that.
I mean I think it'd be appropriate, but I think the band would. I don't know. Actually, they'd probably take it as a compliment.
Well, the best part is that they don't know what the hell Magic 106.7 is, because that's
Magic 106.7,
Yeah.
Boston.
Exactly. That's Boston only. Nobody else has any idea what you're talking about. Anyways, so yeah, this is my mix, and it's going to be interesting. Dan, since you've now looked at this, does this seem? I don't know. Like,
Mixed
You've
Wednesday-esque.
you've heard the record. You've seen the original tracking. What you see in this mix, does this seem crazy? Does this seem simple? Does this seem like more or less than you expected to see?
Honestly, I was pretty surprised by how simplistic the session looks. Like especially, I don't know, like when I think of really solid sounding mixes, I typically associate them with like, for some reason, tons of processing and tons of complexity and crazy detail oriented stuff. And when I open up your mix and I listen to it and I look at it, I'm like, man, this looks like something that, could have been submitted to a Mixed Wednesday competition. You know what I mean? Like, not to say that that's like a, like I'm saying, like that's
What are you
like,
saying that these are all amateurs?
no, I'm saying that like this is like someone who has like a lot of the Mixed Wednesday stuff we've talked about down and applied it to a mix competition. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like basically what we did with the mix contest. So it's pretty interesting to see that, and I guess it kind of goes to show me that like a part of it really has to do, or most of it really has to do with the quality of the recorded tracks, which we went over last week, which we emailed most of you about, which you should have a video in there, which we should probably make that video private by now. Crap, I forgot to do that.
Yeah.
So I guess you could watch that if you wanted to right now instead of the actual class.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, don't do that. I was just kidding. Don't do that.
No, but anyways, though, I was surprised opening this now and seeing how simple it is.
Yeah.
Like myself, I was like, oh shit, man, I didn't do anything that crazy. Like,
No.
I looked at the drums, I'm like, okay, that makes total sense. Nothing really crazy going on there. I went down to some of the other tracks. I'm like, man, on some of the guitars, all there is like a high pass, and then it kind of sums down to a groove.
That's great.
I
I think that's awesome. I mean, because it should go without saying that typically a better mix is a lot of wise decision making, and not a bunch of shit stacked on each other.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of, you're talking about your guitars, and it's like, yeah, I'm looking at your kick drums, and it's like you got a kick sample, and one kick, two kick samples, and it's literally EQ and one compressor on the kick group. That's it. That is so easy.
straightforward.
What's that?
It's pretty straightforward.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like a. You're using your gates. You're using your API 550Bs. You're chopping the crap out of those. It's not even really that bad, actually. It's just 2.5K up to 9.
Yeah, it's just a laptop and
I mean,
Like that's it.
what you just said. I mean, that ties into the tracks themselves. He was just. I'm guessing your thinking was, okay, I want to add a sample to accentuate this kick the way I want it to.
Right.
Here's one, but it's still not doing quite what I want to do. But I don't want to, I don't want to chop it down to nothing. I want it to be its own thing, and I'm going to put another one that I think is the sound that it's missing, and then
Right.
let's put them together.
And that's exactly what it was. Yeah, and we'll come. I guess we'll come back to the whole samples. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure as you guys have noticed by opening this session, you'll see that at the end of the session there are single hits of everything, the whole drum kit. There's a proper sample session here at the end. So
There
for those
is.
of you guys that have opened up this contest, I have a hint for you.
What the hell?
Can you hear it, Tom?
That's my ringtone.
You guys will see that at the end of this session, after the last marker, there is a whole sample session for this drum kit.
Yep.
Wherein, if you want, you can pull samples from it. And I had done that. So, the samples that are in here, I can't remember exactly what all of them are. We'll have to go through and listen to it because, again, I did this 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure kick 1 is actually the kick from here, and I'm pretty sure snare 1 is the snare from here. It does a lot to create phase coherence and do good things for us. Why is the guitar stem in the middle of the floor tom stem?
The guitar stem in the middle of the floor tom.
Yeah, scroll down.
Look at that.
Maybe that shouldn't be there.
That probably shouldn't be there. There might be 2 guitar stems in here then.
You were doing some mad genius shit right there.
I put in 2 guitar stems.
No, that was just my.
Somehow put it right above room.
No, he was trying to match
Room right
something.
below that. There you go.
There we go.
What else? All right, close enough. Also, I noticed that in Tom's sample, there's nothing in there. There actually should be something in there.
Oh, should there be?
Yeah.
Look at that. Same with the rack sample. Nothing.
Well, sorry, that's what I mean, rack sample. Anyways, but so the rack sample is also created from the end of this session.
Oh, cool.
So, what would you want to ask about this, Dan, Kenny? What would you want to ask? I mean, where would you want to start? Because for me, obviously, I went through this whole thing, and
Well, where'd you start?
where did I start?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we kind of chat about like what we left off from last week? Because we are using the same track, we are talking about the same kind of session, we're the same, it's the same thing. So we discussed last week this incredible in-depth conversation that we even posted a little snippet of on our YouTube channel about mixed vision, right? And you said something last week that has still been ringing around in my head about how the vision that you had with this band and the vision that you had and the vision that the band had were pretty much unified. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering, like, before we even talk about, like, where did you start with what and how? What was, when you heard the song for the first time, did you hear a demo of it? Like, how did you hear it? What made you love it? You know what I mean?
I did. I actually, I had been going back and, well, first of all, this is the 3rd record I've done with this same band.
Got it.
And I think at this point we're 5 years into knowing one another or something like that. I think by now we're 8 years in or something like that.
Damn.
But yeah, so this is the 3rd record I'm doing with this band, and the first one was kind of an EP that was a bit of a rush. I just had to get it done super quickly, and I'm pretty sure I was giving them the final mixes as they were setting up to do their CD release show.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a little gnarly, and like they ended up like doing some crazy stuff to kind of get it pressed super quickly. And by pressed, I mean at that time I'm pretty sure they just burned a snot load of CDs and just kind of just went at it. Wow. So that was crazy, but it ended up coming out great and sounding really, really great.
Cool.
And we did a full length of that record, and the full length of that record was intense. I ended up basically mixing it at their house using all my own gear. Well, not all my own gear, but mostly my own gear. It was a little crazy.
Yeah.
So then when we got to doing this, we already kind of had this relationship where we understood each other in general in terms of the direction of the band, what they wanted sonically, what I do or what I like sonically.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And we were very much so on the same page. We wanted to just make like a really, really clean, yet reasonably natural sounding, pop rock record.
Okay.
We didn't want it to seem like a bazillion % produced, but we wanted it to be able to play up against, pretty much mainstream pop. So when we kind of came into this, with like kind of a unified idea. So as they're writing these songs, they're sending me demos of the songs. And as they're sending me demos of the songs while writing it, I kind of kept coming back at them with, I guess, almost production notes. I'd say, that's cool, but, maybe it'd be better if this, and maybe it'd be better if that. Or I really like this chorus, I really like that. They actually ended up giving me producing credit on this record, too. I didn't ask for it. It just kind of happened, and it was awesome. And it was a very nice tip of the hat from them to me, which is very cool.
That's really cool. So if I'm not mistaken, you're saying that this band and you had a long relationship before you even started working on this particular track.
Yes.
That's cool.
Absolutely. In fact, if I go through my iTunes, the 2014 record, I've got demos, part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then at demos 9 is when we were in a place where we thought we were good to make these songs. And that's demos. And the demos are pretty properly tracked out. It's like these demos sound like they could be a record that someone would put out. It's not like these guys are, slagging here,
Yeah, no, their demos sound ridiculous. I actually love the demos of their latest record. I listened to them for like 4 weeks straight. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's annoying, right? Because the songwriting is so good that even the demos, without a polished mix, I mean, the mix is still pretty decent, but it's not super polished and clean.
Yeah.
Even without that super polished mix, they're ending up giving you something, and you just get it stuck in your head, and you just want to listen to it for weeks, right?
Yeah. No, it's really
these
cool.
Are kind of multi-tracking these demos and figuring their stuff out. And they're doing it with all programmed drums just to kind of get the song down.
Yeah.
And then they send me the demos, and we kind of review it and talk about it a bit. And then we got to the point of tracking. So we get to the point of tracking, and while we're doing the tracking, and by we, I mean they track this entirely themselves in their house.
Yep.
While we're doing the tracking, again, I said we, I don't know why. While they're doing the tracking, they kept calling me up and saying, "Hey, since you're going to be mixing this, what do you want? What kind of track do you want? Do you want DIs? Do you want a room mic? Do you want this? Where should we put the drum kit? What mic should we use on what? That kind of stuff."
Yeah.
And it's awesome because then I ended up getting exactly what I wanted.
Yep.
Hence us having something like a sample session at the end of the song. So they kind of gave it in a fantastic way. It was awesome. So back to the mixed vision itself. I'd probably heard this song for, 3 weeks before. I mean, if I go all the way back to demo 1, let's say 3 months maybe before I ever started mixing.
Wow.
So by the time it came to mixing this, I knew exactly what I wanted the kick and snare to sound like. I know what I wanted the guitars to sound like. I know what I wanted to feel like when it hits the different parts of the song.
Yeah.
Which makes it a pretty much zero guessing type game. Instead, it's this is what I'm starting with. This is what I want it to end with. What's my road from point A to point B?
Yeah. Is it relevant to chat about what your ideal sound for these? Because I mean, you said what they wanted to sound like. You had that in your head. What were these sounds like? Where did you decide this is not what I want and this is what I want?
I mean, really, it was just kind of I listened to the song and then I had an idea in my head that was just like if I was imagining. Well, actually, no, it's not even if I was. When you hear a demo of a song, you listen to the demo, right?
Yeah.
When the demo's not playing and you're playing it back in your head, you're not playing back the demo. You're basically playing back like your idealized version of it.
Okay. It's interesting.
Hold on.
So did you use any reference?
I did. I used some Jimmy Eat World stuff. Jimmy Eat World, I can't remember the name of the record, but used the Jimmy Eat World track and then maybe some Death Cab, something like that.
Yeah,
okay.
I could totally see Death Cab for sure.
And I can't remember. We picked a couple specific songs and we're like, these are what we want it to kind of feel like. And I never really use a reference as I want this to sound the same as that.
Yeah.
I use the reference as if these are going to play right next to each other in an iTunes playlist, would it sound like they compete?
Got it.
Um, and that's kind of why I have it. It's like I want to be able to hit play on that, and then I'll hit play on my mix, and I want to make sure that um, if they played one after another in an iTunes playlist or whatever, I wouldn't feel like, oh man, it suddenly got like way small, or it suddenly got really big. You know, like you want them to kind of sit in the same kind of overall spectrum.
Yeah. I think I totally get that. I mean, that's what we kind of what we chat about a lot is how when you're mixing, you know, and you listen to these tracks with these references, you want someone to easily flip through a playlist and, you know, hey, song kind of just sounds like it belongs there. It doesn't all of a sudden sound like this boxy, tinny, little tiny thing that is super distracting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we always go back, or I always go back to the example of that band Story of the Year.
Yeah.
You remember their first record? It was pretty big, like a lot of huge singles on it. It was called Page Avenue.
Yeah.
You listen to that record and you're like, oh, it sounds pretty cool. It sounds pretty cool. And then you put it up next to anything that's actually like an awesome mix, and you're like, God, that record sounds tiny and mid-scooped and like super compressed.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no idea until you get to A/B it against anything else. It's almost like whoever mixed that, and I'm certainly not like talking shit because you know like that record did really, really well and tons of singles sounded good. But it's almost like whoever mixed it kind of mixed it in isolation.
Yeah, totally.
It's like when you sit and mix a bunch and don't use references and you just mix and mix and mix and mix and mix. And then you finally listen to something else and you're like, holy shit, they've got like way more low end and way more this and way more that. And then you go back to your mix, you go, damn it, my whole mix, like it just needs that master EQ change, you know?
Yeah. I remember a really funny little trick well, not a trick, but a way you said that you told me to send you a mix one time. I actually never did it because I think I wussed out, or I just like I forgot to. It's probably because I wussed out. That's definitely what it was. You said, send me a bunch of random stuff, and I'll tell you which one doesn't sound pro. Instead of saying, oh, can you, instead of me saying, like, can you just take a listen to my mix? You were just like, send me a bunch of stuff, and I'll tell you which one doesn't sound pro.
I remember that. Yeah, that was crazy. I think I said, like, just take a bunch of audio files of, like, songs that you're using as reference and your mix. Yep. I'm not going to know them anyways.
Yep.
And just rename them, like, just numbers or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, just send me a bunch of shit, and I'll tell you which one doesn't sound pro.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, like, I got to get better at mixing to pass this test.
That was a pretty rough one, right?
Yeah, I didn't end up sending you anything because you were just like, I think it was just so like, this is how Ryan John is going to logically tell you that your mix is not pro yet. I was just like,
the point though, right? The point is that a general listener, your average guy, is not going to go, oh, look, this one was mixed. This one was recorded in a home studio. And this was mixed by a guy in his house,
right?
And go, now it doesn't need to compete with everything else. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
So, you know, you should be able to just play your stuff and anything that's, you know, major label, whatever, that's out. Yep. And you shouldn't be able to tell that this one is, like, low budget or whatever. You should be able to just be squared away.
Yep. So I thought that was a pretty interesting technique for that.
Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, that was kind of fucked up, huh?
No, it was only slightly scarring, but very educational.
Yeah, right. Well, so Mojo's brought up a very, very common point here. He says the hardest part about using references for mixing is that you're comparing a mix to a master track. Well, you guys both know my opinion on this.
Hence our deafening silence.
So what do you think here, Dan?
All right. Well, I didn't believe it until I saw it. And I kind of talked about this in actually our latest blog post that we just started on WordPress. The day I realized I was mixing without intent. So I firmly believe that it's totally possible to mix to a commercial record. In fact, I actually suggest that everybody does it because it's kind of like being thrown into the deep end of anything. Any type of skill, any type of creative skill, any type of technical skill, you're thrown in the deep end because you are immediately showing yourself and revealing to yourself all of your own flaws. And flaws is a really like harsh term, but it's kind of true because when you mix up against a reference, you're saying, I need this to sound like this or to sound comparable to it. And by not being able to live up to that means that there's a bit of distance that you have to go to get there. So I think even if it's for purely educational reasons, just to gauge your skill level, to mix to a reference, to make that happen, to try and deliver something that someone, just like we were talking about a second ago, they'd be listen to both of your stuff, both of your mixes, and be like, I can't tell which one is your mix.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel about it. And like I said, I didn't believe it until I actually saw it, until I heard like someone who, like Ryan or Kenny, who mixes stuff all the time, play something for me that could match and does match like in a real life commercially recorded mix. Because before then, it was all just how can you say? It was all like mythical. You know, even the teachers that would come into the school sometimes, like we had some guys that would come in and they'd like do a 2-hour mix on an analog board, and because they were thrown in the deep end trying to make something sound good, it still sounded like crap. You know what I mean? Like it didn't. You know, I never had someone mix something that pro in front of me. So I think it's totally possible to do that.
Well,
my
so
long-winded version of it.
To jump back on the topic, though, I mean, okay, mastering versus your mix. Let's scroll to the top of this section. This is going to be the simplest way to show this, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Okay, so all the way at the top, we've got the print of the mix here. Pretty straightforward. It's just the mix. If you want to kind of zoom that in a little bit, like vertically, we can see it. You know, it's pretty controlled. That being said, I did a little bit of sneakiness to kind of, make it even more controlled, but let's not worry about that.
Okay.
Right below that, we've got the master of this mix, and this is a master I just did as a rough master. Now, the reason I do this is because I want to be able to just submit it to my client and go, hey, play this, and they don't have to guess what it's going to sound like next to their favorite track. They just get to play it next to their favorite track. And then when we send it off to mastering, maybe it'll be even better, right?
Yep.
You want to look at what's on that rough mix that turns it into the master. It's just an API limiter. That's the only thing that's on there. It's boosting up the output level. There's a trim before it, but that's just to make sure it hits the API at the right kind of level. Okay? So if you want, let's route both of those to output 1, 2, make sure all the master bus processing is off. And then there you go, cool. And let's listen to solo up just the mix. And let's listen to a section. You can pick a section, like maybe just a chorus, actually. Let's pick the chorus 3 to bridge. You've got marked, so it makes it easy to do it.
Yep. Chorus 3 to bridge. Very cool.
Cool.
I don't think there's anything else solo saved in this session, is there, Ryan? Nothing that would actually cause it?
I don't think I would have done anything like that.
Okay.
But take off the plugins there, because those plugins are what fed into the quote-unquote master here.
Got it. Okay, cool.
So let's take a listen to this section here.
Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and, just so that I don't blow everybody away at home, I'm just going to gradually bring up the volume. Here we go.
There may be automation, but yeah.
The best intentions turn the biggest mistakes. It's a part of life that you cannot escape.
Okay, cool. You can kill it there. Now let's listen to the master version of it. Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, that's loud.
If you stumble or can't shoulder the weight, the best intentions turn the biggest mistakes. It's a part of life that you cannot escape.
And just so we can understand the point.
Yep. Sorry, I was too busy playing air piano.
All good. Could you put a metering plugin on that master?
Yes, I can.
Just anything, so we can just see. Well, not that master. I meant actually the master track master. There you go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there you go. Whatever one you normally use. And let's play that for a second. Just see what we're looking like.
Yes, sir.
If you stumble or can't shoulder the weight,
Woo!
the best intentions turn the biggest mistakes. It's a part of life that you cannot escape.
Okay.
So we're hitting like
6?
We're hitting 6. We're topping out at 6 RMS. Negative 6
That's-
RMS.
yeah.
6 is full-on pop track volume.
Yep.
Yeah. But through my stream, it actually sounds a touch distorted, but I know that the actual track does not.
Yeah. I can turn that down for you a little bit.
No, all good, all good. I don't know if everyone else on YouTube is hearing it the same way that we're hearing it through this stream, because we hear it differently, maybe.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So maybe they're hearing it okay. But either way, we're hitting -6 there. We're hitting like full-on mastered pop there. Sasha's asked if we could throw a spectrum on there for the mix, just to kind of see what that looks like. If you want to throw that the blue cat thing on there.
The freak analyst.
And just set it up to like super slow.
Yeah.
Set the release like incredibly slow. Yeah, there you go. And then just let it roll for a bit of that same section. Just a little bit, just to see what it looks like.
If you stumble or can't show me the way, the best intentions turn the biggest mistakes. It's a part of life that you cannot escape.
So that's what we got there.
So you're pretty standard downward slope to the right? Nothing too crazy.
Nope. Nothing really, man.
And it basically lines up with everything we've always talked about with like matching to like pink noise, you know?
Yep.
But anyways, so the idea that you can't mix to a mastered track is totally bogus, because in this case we've made a mix here, and the only thing we've done to pseudo master it is just basically throw a limiter on it.
Yep.
And subsequently we ended up with something that I could literally play next to a master track and just be okay with.
Yep.
So okay, let's jump outside of that mastering question, because now we're in a little bit of a rabbit hole here, and let's move to the actual mix of the track, I guess.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we can do that.
So let's close both of these. Let's mute those two tracks so that they never show up again.
Be gone with.
And let's turn back on the BX Solo and that Q10.
You're gone.
Okay. And the BX Solo. Cool. All right. So where do you want to start on this mix? Because I guess the question is, where did I start on the mix? Maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
do you remember where you started?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do it in order. I do drums. I've been doing the same thing for forever. The only thing I changed was, remember I was saying I kind of changed the vertical order of things nowadays, so it's a little bit different.
Yes, I remember that.
But in terms of process order, I've still always kind of done the same process. So from top to bottom is how I work. Let's ignore the master fader and let's ignore the bass for now.
Sure.
But I do like putting the bass next to the kick drum, since you end up having this kick relationship thing you want to figure out.
Yep.
And I like placing them next to each other so it's easy to kind of solo back and forth and things like that. But let's just pretend we're not starting there.
Sure.
So the drum kit, the tracking was really, really good. It's really, really good. I know that I did time alignment, and I think I did it on this using auto align, maybe?
No, it's all. I think it's all just the regular delay plugin.
Ah, look at the last plugin slot. J.
Never mind.
So this was when I was actually using auto align to do this. I kind of stopped. It's because Kenny, you had bought auto align, and we had this funny agreement where, like, if I show you how to use it, you'd like let me have it.
Yeah.
And that was awesome.
That sounds like a very Ryan John
Good deal for
agreement.
you.
Yep, sweet deal for me, man.
I definitely could have just watched a YouTube video or.
I know. So instead, I made a YouTube video and posted it as well.
Yeah, but you know Ryan John's way better than any YouTube video that exists.
Nah. But anyway, so I used auto align on this to line everything up to the overheads. I've since stopped it just because I think I switched computers to a different computer, and like my install didn't follow, and now auto align or Sound Radix won't let me like make a new version of it because it thinks we've already used 2 licenses or something. So I gave up. I didn't try very hard though.
Damn.
But anyways, to jump into auto align, what it does is it does time and polarity alignment for microphones. So if you've got multiple mics on a single source, which a drum kit does, you can do time and polarity alignment. So in this case, since the overheads are the only thing that are picking up the entire kit, we use the overhead as the source. Hence, on this plugin, it says receive 3.
Yep.
And then your destination is the individual tracks. So you can line up your kick mic so that it's in time, your snare mic so it's in time, your toms and stuff. Then comes the argument, oh, well, then, it's not actually phase coherent anymore. Well, you know what? It wasn't phase coherent the second you put 2 mics on it anyways.
Boom.
So now they are closer in phase, and since these kind of things are gated, there's no bleed issues at all. So it actually cleans it up pretty well. Let's kind of jump past auto-align, though, because auto-align is a whole rabbit hole in itself that could just turn into a long conversation.
True story.
You want to walk through the basic use of auto-align. You want to actually do that?
Say what?
Kenny, do you want to walk through the basic use of auto-align, how you do it in this session?
Oh, yeah. We're going to do it like in real time, or?
Yeah, why not? I mean, we already have these on here, so let's
right.
just go as if you were just doing this.
So what I'm assuming is that you put an auto line on the overhead mic, because we do that because that's the farthest mic in distance from the kit. Besides room mics, we don't count room mics because those are for the room, and those are more of an effect. So it's the furthest mic that's tracking the kit itself. So what we do is we make one of the send channels. In this case, it's 3. It could be anywhere 1 through 9. And then what you would do is you would throw another auto align on, probably just go from the top, start with the kick, and the return would be 3. So when you hit play on a section, I suggest doing it in a, maybe it doesn't really matter which section, just loop out a section really, and hit detect. It's going to tell you the phase and the if the polarity should be switched or not.
Right. So yeah, exactly. That's exactly how you use it. It's not really any more complicated than that.
Well, it's not really going to tell you the phase, but it's going to show you the delay that it needs to apply in order to put them close to inputs, right? So you see the plus 63 on the kick track there. Kick had to be delayed 63 samples in order to be in time with the overheads.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like the first detect that I do, before that, I actually just for my own curiosity, see if it's actually
accurate.
Yeah, actually accurate. And if it is, or it's within maybe one sample, then I'm probably pretty good to go for the rest of the kit. So
right.
Saves a ton of time.
Every once in a while, it's like way off, right?
What's that?
Every once in a while, it's like way off, right?
Yeah, and that's where I get, I don't know. Sometimes I just sometimes you have to do it 2 or 3 times, and then it just really kind of clicks. And then, I don't know, it's not 100%, but it's definitely, a solid 94% when you use it in terms of accuracy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it saves a ton of time. It's a great tool.
Oh, wow. Whatever you were just zoomed in on, I noticed that there's a kick sample that didn't trigger there. Boom. Whoops. Look at that.
Boom.
Yeah. Anyways, whatever. Let's pretend that wasn't there. All right, so let's say we've time-aligned our drum kit. Let's actually take a look at the kick itself.
Sure.
Processing on it. We got a gate, and we've got an EQ. Pretty straightforward.
There's really not much. It's really amazing.
Gnarly EQ, but
Yeah.
let's take a listen to that kick on its own.
Okay.
You've got the overheads queued as well, so.
Bypass that EQ. Let's see what you
bypass the gate, and then we'll turn them on one at a time.
Let's see what you were trying to change. A lot.
A lot, I know.
I'm actually going to loop out this section right here. My apologies. Turn on the expander gate. Turn on the
Okay, it's pretty quiet to me, but I can hear it. I got it.
Yeah.
Is your master fader back in Unity?
Let's find out. It is.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I guess there's no quote unquote mastering on there. So.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Pretty much kind of scoops it out.
Yeah, what's happening here is let me just go ahead and it goes from this woofy kind of like this like woofy airy sound to just like a tighter sound overall. Like you said, scooped. There's nothing really crazy about it. But the gate just kind of cleans up the release of the kick. It's not even really adding like any of that punch that everybody talks about or like any like creative gating. I guess it is creative, but you're really just adjusting the release of the kick drum, it sounds like. There's nothing more to it than that. You're just shaping the kick to your liking. That's really it. Yeah. So after that,
Yeah, pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy.
yeah.
Let's take a look at this kick sample track, the first one.
Okay. I think this is where stuff's going to get wacky.
Yeah. Well, let's remove all the extra stuff that's on it and just
Sure.
kind of. Oh, so that's a kick with a ton of room.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I've probably yeah, my laptop fans are going nuts, so I apologize that
Oh, yeah. The room noise on your side is kind of crazy.
yeah, I'm sorry, man. My laptop fans are going apeshit. It's probably because I've just got a bunch of screens up and I've got Pro Tools up in the background as well and a bunch of other crap.
Gotcha.
But anyways, so I think what I had done here was I generated this sample by taking the overheads and taking the kick and compressing the snot out of the overheads. And this is from the stuff that's at the end of this session.
Okay.
And I kind of went a little bit nuts there and compressed the overheads a bunch so that there's a bunch of room in the kick drum there.
Okay.
And then once that room was in the kick drum, I printed it to its own track.
Got it.
And then at that point, use that as the sample.
Got it. Okay.
So now this allows me to get a little bit of length out of the kick drum because the original sound didn't have much length to it at all.
Okay.
Kind of just a little bit of an impact, right?
Yeah.
So I went a little bit overboard with the length, so I think I put the expander gate on it to shorten it a touch.
Okay.
So if you hit play and then turn on the expander gate, you'll hear that the length of it kind of just trims down a touch.
Okay.
Maybe?
Yeah, just a touch.
Yeah, it just takes off a little bit of the decay there on the end.
Yeah.
Can
Honestly,
everyone
I'm just gonna-
hear, Pro Tools okay? Because it sounds pretty soft for me.
It sounds really quiet for me too, but
Cool. I'm gonna just shut off my fan in my room too because I think it might be just kind of loud as well. 1 second.
Okay.
Maybe that'll help. Who knows? Who knows? We'll go ahead and turn
Maybe.
up the. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll turn up the volume as well. Let's see here. Let's just turn up the volume inside the session, and we'll just back down. Pro Tools touch. There we go. Let's see how this works. That's way better.
Yeah.
So I think the fan noise is actually coming from my side too, Ryan. My apologies.
I was going to say, because I don't have any fans in the room. It's just my computer.
It was
Anyway.
both of our room sounds are just getting super epic. And I realized like that sounds like a fan that's over to my right.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. So yeah, now you've got this like crazy decay that we've pulled back a little bit to kind of make it a little bit more in time with the song, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I don't know.
Does it feel like it's kind of in time with the like,
It totally does actually. Yeah.
It's up, right?
Yeah. I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. Well, cool. So that's why the gate's there. Then there's the EQ to make it annoying, to make it bright, to make
Make
it
it
so you
bright.
really hear the decay.
Okay,
Really hear the decay.
let's check it
So
out.
listen-
Jeez.
Oh yeah. No, shut up. All right. Let's go to the last kick sample that I threw in here. If I'm not mistaken, this one was for low end. This one is for like the subby low end.
Okay.
Let's take a listen to just that real quick. You can pull the EQ first. Oh yes, super scooped. But it's got a bunch under 50.
Wow.
Yep, crazy. I'm sorry. But this sample is not from this kit. This is from another kit I recorded years ago, which actually ended up on a Circa Survive record, which is cool, but super subby. It's got like all sorts of stuff underneath, like 90 hertz.
Yeah.
So if we take these three together, and honestly, we really should do this in the context of the whole drum kit because it's going to sound weird without it.
Okay.
Let's listen to what the whole drum kit sounds like with these three on.
The whole drum kit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So cue the whole kit.
All right. I can do that. You got groups on this stuff?
Probably no.
Nope. No groups. Making my
I don't-
life
Sorry.
absolutely awesome.
No, just scroll down, hold shift.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Come on, dog. There we go.
It's one of those things where like you become immediately worse at using computers the second like what is it, 16 people are watching? Always happens to me. I don't know why. I'm just like, oh, I can't computer. All right, let's do it.
Right. Let's hear this.
Alrighty.
Awesome in context.
Yep.
So, got there. So that actually sounds really awesome in context.
Yep.
I realize it seems bright otherwise, right? It seems like it's like aggressive on the top end, doesn't it?
Yep.
Hey, stop scratching, buddy. Sorry, that wasn't at you. That was a puppy. All right. Anyways, so that's kind of the kick treatment. Then the whole kick thing hits a group, and the group, I do believe, is really just to kind of make sure that the dynamics kind of stay together.
Okay.
I'm hoping that when you queue up that 76 over there that's on that group,
Yeah.
it's not hitting a bunch of gain reduction. I'm hoping.
Let's find out.
Because that would make sense to me. But go for it.
So just
Just hit play.
sorry, did you want all the drums in context again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait, so why is this here?
Because some sections of the song, like there are a couple hits that are hard. Like if you scroll forward a little bit to look at the build there,
Yeah.
go to the end of the build or go to that. Yeah, even that. See if that hit triggers it. No, exactly.
What about here?
Nope. I think I put it on there as a safety and like kind of used it as just in case.
You
Is
use
that
your
Go ahead.
That's pretty funny. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was a just in case. You can see the attack is set crazy slow. When by crazy slow on an 1176 is still fast, but release is fast. The idea was I don't really know, but I mean it's definitely just set as a safety, and it definitely ended up doing nothing in terms of actual compression, which is a good thing, because I would have been mad if you opened this up and it was just like slamming it, because I would have been like, that is so against everything I say.
Right. It
So
would
I'm
have been,
glad I didn't do something like that,
yeah, exactly. That's
Anyway.
hilarious, man.
Cool. So that's the general kick tone. the kick is certainly helped out by the overheads and all that. Like it's not like this kick on its own is its thing. It's certainly the drum kit as a whole that collects to create this overall sound.
Gotcha.
So kick and snare are always my first thing I kind of start into. We can kill cueing the whole drum kit here, and let's look at top snare and bottom snare, and put in the overheads as well. So top, bottom, and overheads.
Top, bottom, no snare samples?
Yeah, kill the samples, so just top, bottom, and overheads. Let's take a listen.
You got it. Figure out this noise thing. It's pretty weird.
All right. Okay.
Let me try turning this.
Seems pretty straightforward. So what do we got going on here? We got a gate, we got a 7-band, which I'm assuming is corrective, and an auto reline to line it up. So the gate's nothing crazy. 7-band is equally nothing crazy.
Yep.
I actually kind of want to. You want to just cue me just that top snare, and
Sure.
invert on that gain just to hear what that frequency is that I pulled out.
And do what again? Sorry.
Invert that gain just to hear what this frequency, just to hear what that sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah. I just want to hear what I pulled out. Okay. What does that sound like to you?
Boom, boom, boom. Like right there. That's what it sounds like to me.
Nice and clean.
Yep.
So yeah, that was just a bit of a cleanup for a ring in the drum itself, I guess.
Yep.
The resonance there. I wonder if I guess I didn't do the same at the bottom. I'm assuming it didn't show up there. But I figure I probably boosted some bottom end in the snare bottom.
Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, some of the chunk, some of the mid. Let's listen to that snare bottom, just on its own, without the EQ and then with it. Right. Okay, so just a touch more.
Yep.
So nothing too crazy going on there. And I do believe the polarity inversion is already dealt with auto align and all that. So we don't have to. So let's talk about the samples. I think I did exactly the same thing where I've got something that adds a long decay and then something else that maybe is just kind of general impact.
Okay. Let's see here. Sorry, say that again. You wanted me to pull up what?
You pull up the first and second snare samples.
Ah, sorry. Sorry about that.
All good.
I went to the group and I was like, that's what he said, right? And my brain just didn't react. My
So
bad.
let's take a listen to that first one.
Okay. Let's take a listen. Damn.
Okay. Cool.
Jesus.
So that is obviously impact plus like note sustain. I don't think that came from this session. I actually think that came from the Bad Rabbit session. But
Okay.
don't tell anybody. All right, what's it?
Makes sense.
Yeah. I know. You're like, yeah. What do we got on number 2? Okay, so that one I think actually came from this session. That was just kind of processed pretty heavily off of this session.
Got it.
So these plugins are both bypass on both of those, right?
550B. Sorry, I had a snare sample on there. My bad. Let me go ahead and we'll take a listen to that again real quick because it looks like you chopped up that thing like real crazy.
Yeah, it's funky shit.
It's like all the frequencies that hurt.
Basically, it is exactly that. All the frequencies that hurt. It's everything aggressive.
That's awesome.
The other one has got the natural sound, like with a nice long decay. This one sounds like a real snare being hit with the decay.
Yeah, definitely.
So the combination of all of them together, all time aligned by doing nudging, turns into something that then probably does hit that CLA on the group pretty hard.
Okay, let's check it out.
Let's queue up all 4, and then take a look at how hard we're hitting with the CLA.
Yeah, and I just actually wanted to touch on one thing that I think is interesting here. If you guys have been doing all this stuff, you guys can understand the way this hierarchy is working. Ryan's got 3 kicks running to a group. He's got 4 snares running to a group. It's all meticulously organized, which I think we might have went through a couple weeks back when John sent us his crazy session. But it keeps things organized. It's a very specific way of processing your tracks. I think when you first showed me this, like I think it was 2 years ago now, I was like, oh, dude, like this stuff's starting to really make sense, like how you mix down stuff, how you submix stuff, how this process works, you know? What's interesting is that you actually haven't added like any compression to any of these individual tracks yet. You're putting them all on the group, which is awesome. I think it's perfect. As someone who over compresses stuff still.
Yeah.
So let's we'll go ahead and we'll turn on. You want me to turn on all the processing for all the tracks, and then we can just see what this.
Leave it on, so it actually kind of matches up with what we're going for. Like leave it on.
On. Got it.
Okay, cool. Now let's take a look at the CLA 76 and see how hard.
I think I got exactly what you're saying. Let me hit roll.
12 dB, I would imagine. Go for
all
it.
right.
Not that bad.
Nope.
Turn it off. So it's really a touch more smack here.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really just adding a little bit of that attack, and it's cool. It's not super aggressive. It's way less aggressive than I thought I would have done. But then again, remember I was saying earlier, like I actually listened to the snare sound on this, and I was like, oh, I could have done better with that snare.
Yeah.
This is probably it. Is that now I've kind of gotten into this mental headspace where I like just getting slammed, you know?
Yeah, everything really hurts. Really hurts.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's totally cool. So
Right.
we spent a half hour on kick and snare because that's pretty much the most important parts of this entire mix, I think.
Well, when it comes to like pop, yeah, I mean that's the backbeat, that's the heartbeat of everything. You know what I mean? So toms, I know that I literally muted and then came back to way later in the song.
Yeah.
I went from kick and snare and got my overheads dialed in. I got a lot of the other stuff, the hat, ride, and all that kind of stuff, just kind of muted out and just barely touched. There's a room mic there, right? ROM?
There is a ROM mic.
Take a listen to ROM real quick.
Okay.
Woo. Yeah, it got way more exciting with the processing.
Wow. Boring. Exciting to Ryan John.
I mean, come on. It sounds super high energy the moment.
No. I was saying that as in if it's super exciting to Ryan John, typically it's generally exciting all around.
Okay, fair. So let's talk about what's going on in there.
Okay.
One thing that's a little funny that doesn't really line up with what most people do is that the 1176 on there is not all buttons in. And that's kind of considered a normal thing to do to rooms, right?
Yeah.
People do it because it makes this crazy sucking sound and like this weird kind of... It almost makes it sound kind of reversey, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
I didn't use that because it tends to bring out some wacky stuff and symbols and get a little bit aggressive and weird in kind of a bad way. So if we unmute these or unbypass these one at a time, just to get an idea of what's going on, let's do it that way. That'll make the most sense. So bypass them all, and then we'll put in the 1176 just to get an idea of what we've got going on here. So
Sounds good.
The idea is to kind of give it a longer decay. Since we've got such a fast release, we should be increasing the decay time of any drum hit and give it a little bit of pumping, maybe, to make it breathe a little bit, give it some kind of movement.
Okay. All right.
Okay, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the decapitator is to give it a little bit of excitement. It's just a little bit dull sounding, so this punches it up a bit.
Yeah. I like it.
So one of the problems that the decapitator brings out, though, is that it's very low, mid, heavy, and it
Mhm.
makes it a little bit messy down there when you're trying to go for a clean sounding mix. So the EQ after this is cleaning up the low mid, but also cleaning up some of the harshness that comes out of the cymbal hits right after.
I see.
So let's give that a go. Also, you'll notice the output level and this bumps it back up, and that was probably just a last minute. You know what? I need more volume out of it. But if you were to put that back to 0, I'm sure you'd be at an A/B point where you could kind of A/B it without hearing the boost.
Let's take a listen.
Yep. All right, so that's kind of the process for the room. The room certainly helped out things like kicks and snares. Definitely gave like more length and all that stuff. So let's pretend we're basically done with the drum kit, because in terms of mix, I might have just gotten the rooms dialed in, gotten the overheads kind of squared away a bit, and then moved on.
Yeah.
I would have potentially moved to bass next. So that's actually all the way at the top of the session.
Okay. So you basically
I would have come back for.
Gotcha. So you started with the kick, you went to the snare, you did the rooms, you kind of took all the important parts of the drum kit that you foresee using in the mix or hearing in the mix first, and then you were just like, I'll come back to the rest because I don't have to worry about that stuff for now. I'm just going to fill in the rest.
The backbeat we need to just make sure it's spot on.
Gotcha.
And then once you've got like the feel of all that, we can move on and then come back to the details. Like tom fills are tom fills for the most part. That being said, the song's got a pretty heavy amount of tom in it. So, when I got to the sections of, okay, I'm working on, this verse, or I'm working on this section and that section, the stuff that's like actually tom heavy, I did actually come back and make sure I got those dialed in. But when it comes to, the most hard-hitting portion of the song, which is going to be chorus 3, that's important to get that stuff squared away first and then come back to the other stuff that is supposed to be smaller. It's easy to go from mixing huge to mixing other stuff smaller than it is to go from mixing big and then mixing even bigger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, actually. Because
that's I definitely have had problems with in the past where I'm like, oh man, I've got this chorus sounding huge, and then you go on, you're like, fuck, the bridge is supposed to sound even bigger. Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, what we always say. You want to. It's better to cut than to boost, right?
Totally, exactly that.
It totally plays into that.
Yeah. So let's jump to bass. Let's take a listen to Bass DI raw. Let's get rid of all the crap that's on it, including the stuff that's on the group. Do it.
Okay, guy. Done.
Yes. If I were going to do this mix now, I would have cleaned this up even more. I would have done so much more to it, like this kind of side chainy stuff and things like that. But you know what? That's why I'm doing another record for them now.
Oh, look at that.
No.
All right.
Bass DI on its own.
Okay.
It's got a touch of distortion on it already, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like it definitely has a touch of distortion on it.
A little bit of overdrive there. So let's take a look at that 7-band. What do we got going on?
7-band. You got some stuff going on here, man. You got basically high end is out, shelved.
I didn't manage my low end on this. Okay, cool.
Yep, low end is gone. Is all there. Low mid range though is pretty much non-existent, and there looks like there was something.
That's not that much pulled out. It's like 5 dB.
Okay, it's there. It's just I think you were going for clarity in the low mid range. That's why a lot of it is cut out. Yeah.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
It's
The
not-
annoying stuff at 1K, the annoying stuff at 3.78 is gone. Something really annoying at 3.78 is gone.
Yeah. Do you want to play through this and then invert some of these to see what those sections sounded like, just to kind of see why they were pulled out?
Sure,
Cool.
let's do that.
Go for it.
Out of control. Way less control when it's inverted like that. I can see why you took it out. I'm sure it was, pretty prominent when it wasn't boosted, obviously. Let's move on to the mid-range frequencies. Ugh. Yeah.
Yep, I understand why that one's gone too.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Here's Bertha.
Aggressive.
Yeah, that one doesn't. I mean, maybe it's just from where I'm hearing it.
No. I don't hear it as that offensive either. But
Yeah.
It's
looking at what's coming after it, I understand maybe why I would have pulled it out.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the API it's after.
Crazy. Cool.
I mean, honestly, that top shelf is just because the bass just doesn't need that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is where things get wacky.
Whoa.
So I've been doing this for a long time, and this is because years ago, I ended up mixing a single for a Thrice record. And it was crazy and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And was it Steve Albini who mixed the actual one? No. Oh my gosh, there's two dudes I always get the names mixed up on. And he does this thing where he just boosts the shit out of a ton of frequencies into a compressor.
Wow.
So by boosting it into a compressor, you end up accentuating only very, very specific stuff. So
Interesting.
I'm kind of doing the same thing here, but the compressor is actually on the bass group, but we'll come to that in a minute because this is actually what boosts into the overdrive that's on the next plugin slot, and that's what's going to make these make sense.
So the distortion is reacting to these frequencies first.
Yes.
And can you explain why that's... Why is that...
Well, let's listen to the distortion. And then
Okay.
we'll turn on and off this EQ, and you'll understand immediately just by listening.
Okay. All right. Let's check it out. That's one heck of a concept there. Here we go. Okay. Turn the stream down a bit. Sorry, guys. Might be blowing you up.
And you hear the funnel change there, right?
Wow. It sounds more controlled. It's probably because of the distortion, but it just sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like I don't really know how to describe it. It sounds like it's more controlled. Those are the first words that came to my mind.
First of all, it's hitting it at a higher level, right? So the
Yeah, of
distortion
course.
is applying more compression. So
Yeah.
first is that. Second of all, we're picking specific frequencies that are like kind of important in bass, right? So 75 is like, where the general bottom end is. 30 is like the subby end of the bass.
Yep.
800 is where you're going to hear the note, and 2.5 is where you're going to hear the string attack,
Okay. Wow.
right? It happens to be that all of those are the bottom setting on that EQ. Happens to be, but that's because that EQ is designed very intelligently with like smart frequency choices.
Yeah. That's really
So,
cool.
We've picked the stuff that we would generally consider most important, pushed it into a distortion, and now that becomes the top half of our bass ultimately. Now,
Got it.
we're going to blend that with the next one. So let's take a look at the bass amp. And by the way, if I'm saying anything wrong, I might be because, again, I did this mix 2 years ago. So it's been a while, and I don't remember every aspect of it. Let's
That's
take a look at the bass amp.
Oh, the actual bass amp, not the Sans amp. All right, let's do that.
You
Okay.
what?
Let's take a listen.
Actually, pretty similar tone, isn't it?
Yep.
Let's take a look at this 7 amp.
Whoop. Take a look at it.
Nothing too crazy. It's kind of more that pick attack gone.
Yep.
Okay? And the L2 is probably hitting it reasonably hard, I imagine.
Yep. Sausaging.
Man, it's so amazing how much distortion is on this bass overall in the end. Yet when you hear it in context of the song, you don't notice that it's a distorted bass.
Yeah. That's awesome.
All right, so now let's add both those together and let's look at what the CLA2A is doing, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be pounding pretty hard.
Okay. Yeah.
So this CLA2
Cleans up those attacks really nicely.
yeah, it really pulls off the attack, does a ton of harmonic distortion, makes it totally audible on laptop speakers. Completely audible on like
Yeah. Considering you're listening to it on laptop speakers right now.
I'm listening to it on a laptop right now.
Through a stream.
Take a look at the R bass. R bass is adding in some sub. Nothing crazy. I think it's, what is it, -7 is the intensity? Okay. Listen to it without it and then with it.
What is R bass actually doing? Because this is actually the first time I've ever really used this thing.
It's adding upper harmonics to an implied frequency.
Okay.
So it's adding what's the frequency set to there?
71.
Okay, so it's adding harmonics above 71 that imply that you're boosting 71. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
You could actually take that frequency down to something below what's actually in the content. You could take the frequency down to like 30.
Uh-huh.
And the bass doesn't even have 30 hertz in it, but it's going to add all the harmonics as if 30 hertz is there.
It's a pretty cool plug-in.
Really cool, dude.
I try not to use it much because I'm not really sure how it's working.
You got to be very subtle with it. Like you can't just start pounding with it. And it doesn't work that great for kicks because it doesn't seem to do that well with transients.
Interesting. Makes sense though.
But okay, cool. So we got that, and then we've got what, a 7-band after that, maybe a high pass and some shit. I don't know. Nope. Apparently, I never high passed this shit ever. Yeah, I did a sloppy ass job here.
Use everything that you knew in Mix It Wednesday that you didn't know you needed, but you didn't use.
I know. I did a sloppy job. What can I say, man? So let's listen to the bass and kick relationship. Are we doing okay?
Yes, sir. Take a listen.
Alright, cool.
Sweet.
They don't seem to be messing with each other at all. So let's move past this and move to actually interesting shit. What's the interesting stuff that's in this mix?
What's the what?
What's the interesting stuff that's in this mix? Because we don't have a ton of time. We've spent tons of time going through very little content at this point.
It sounds clear and bright and awesome.
Overall?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think we did to get to that? Okay, so these guitars. I was mixing this on a system that definitely couldn't handle it as well. It was a Purple's 9 HD at the time.
Yeah.
And I had to stem down my guitars because my system could not physically handle what I was doing with it.
Yeah.
So you can see I had groups of guitars going to a single track. So for example, let's look at 79, 80, and 81 track numbers up there.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's just expand that out, N82, just so we can see what we've got going on here.
Sure.
And if you want to, you can actually activate those just so we can look at the plugins. All right, so there's slight VCC on each of them. I guess I did that to saturate a touch. Nothing too crazy, though. It's just a touch of saturation, right?
Yep.
And then I've got an EQ that's just cleaning up a couple frequencies. If I'm not mistaken, this may have been an AC30 as the guitar amp.
Yeah.
AC30s tend to have a bit of brightness that can get kind of harsh and a little annoying.
Totally.
So the frequencies here, I do believe, were those cleaned up. Now, if you go to the API, I'm assuming it's going to boost some top end too. Oh, or maybe do nothing.
This is hilarious, dude.
If you haven't changed settings on them, they seem to just add a sound, right?
Yeah, it's that like really that mid-forward sound because it's that API modeling sound.
Yeah, it just does some mid-forward stuff, right? I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been surprised if I took the top end and boosted it, because generally guitars, right? You
Yeah.
like them in a bright and like a little bit of low mid thickness, but you don't want too much in the 700 range because that sits on top of vocals, right?
Yeah.
But if we look at the EQ correction we did right before this, that's basically a corrective thing to get rid of the harshness of it.
Yep.
So once you've cleaned up the harshness of it, you can just boost top end.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense, man.
So you can see that the guitars are pretty straightforward here. Nothing super crazy done on it.
Right.
If you look at volume on all of them, there's actually some automation on some of these. So if we set all of these to the volume view, these ones might not. But okay, there you go. You see some stuff on some of them.
Very little.
Yeah, it's just to kind of accent notes here and there, little things that were done.
Yeah.
And then even if we go to the guitar all group at the bottom, like the stem that we printed,
Yeah, you did a little bit of stuff there too.
there's a little bit of
Yeah, it looks like it was really just you doing a little something right here.
That's just a little fade, basically. But yeah, it looks like you bumped up a couple like lead-in notes and stuff.
So
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this in the past, the whole concept of hear it once and you can hear it forever type thing.
Yep.
The idea there is that if you've got a reasonably busy mix and you've got piano in the mid-range and acoustic guitar in the mid-range and regular guitar in the mid-range and vocal in the mid-range and snares in the mid-range and synths in the mid-range, you got all this stuff sitting in the same spot. It gets kind of hard to make them all audible.
Yeah.
So what we've got here, I'm pretty sure in this example of what you're looking at right here, is the idea of hear it once and you remember it. And the concept comes from like this whole like general social psychology thing of if you've got a bunch of people standing in a room and talking to each other, you can't really understand any of their conversations, right?
Right.
But if one of the people in that group of people in the room is someone you've met before and you've heard their voice before, it's pretty easy to pick them out and hear exactly what they're saying.
I see.
Right? And that's
Right.
because you've come in and you've gone, I know what this guy's voice sounds like because I've heard it on its own.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
in the context of all this, now I can understand it when we're in this large space.
Right.
So you can do the same thing with mixing. And I mean, I call it hear it once because when a part happens, you can bump it a bunch, like you can see here, right on the downbeat where it comes in, so that you get this moment of, oh, that's exactly what the guitar sounds like, and then
So
it
is
backs
that-
off.
Is that just like the first kind of like strum there of the chorus?
It looks like in that example, I was either doing that or I'm doing the thing where you kind of do a slow fade out and then hit them real hard. You know,
Can you play it right there?
Yeah.
Maybe we can see what you're doing.
where we are.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, you don't have to solo it.
I'm just going to.
It's probably better if you don't solo it.
Yeah, because then we'll understand what it is in context.
Bring this down so I don't blow people away.
Wait, why? It's automated. The volume's automated, so you're not going to be able to change that.
No, I'm talking about the master.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pull it down to like -4 or something.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I
I heard exactly what that was.
So I
Very
mean,
nice.
it is kind of that, though. I mean, yes, that is like an accent point, right? And that's something you never forget in this song, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's exactly why I did that. But also, that lead stays going as you go into the chorus, right?
Right.
Now that
It
that's
does.
been in your face and you've heard it for just a moment, very clearly there, let it keep playing through the chorus. You'll definitely clearly hear it as it continues to move through its lead.
Okay. Let's do it.
That you cannot escape. It's okay if you stumble or can't shoulder the weight. The best intentions turn the biggest mistakes. It's a part of life that you cannot escape.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
So let's jump to the piano because I'm pretty sure I've done the same thing on the piano in a couple spots too, which I think is above the guitars, the whole guitar section.
You're correct about that.
Okay.
Very correct.
And let's
Yeah, I
just,
like your sing-songy way of saying things tonight.
wow, look at that piano synth. That is so DC offset and fucked up.
Well, it's weird.
Can we go to the volume automation on that to see if we've done anything like that there? Oh, okay, maybe I didn't have to.
Got one thing. That's it.
Yeah, apparently I just pulled it out there. I was like, nah, dude, no piano here.
What is this? Hold on a
It's
second.
Oh, yeah, just for
Oh,
the
it's during
verse.
the verse. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I actually know exactly why I did that.
Take
That
those
was a
chugga
very
chuggas out.
decision right there. It's because I wanted you to listen to the guitar that's going instead of the piano.
Hmm.
Because both of those could very clearly be a focus.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't even like realize that piano was there because I was listening to so much of the guitar during that part. Just when I listened to the song.
That's intentionally put in your face that you're listening to guitar. Get rid of this automation for a second, or just set it to read off.
That's one of the things I really like about this song. There's definitely like multiple dimensions happening at a lot of different points.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty impressive.
So
Pretty
hit play
amazing.
now, and let's see what it sounds like.
Wow. That's that
Now
dun
that's
dun.
focus.
I hate that.
Now that is the focus, right?
Yeah.
So put the read automation back on, and let's play it again.
It's not easy to grow.
Dude.
When it brings it down, it kind of brings them both to like a similar level. So it emphasizes the grooviness, like the bass kind of groove of the verse there.
Right.
So I feel like they play together better when you bring that down.
They
So
really do.
ultimately, it's like you're using the with accents of ba 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 ba. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those notes cut through. So now that we've pulled the overall level down, you've chosen to make those accents like accents rather than the whole thing is like an important piano part. You know what I mean?
That's awesome, man.
That's
Damn.
the stuff I love doing. That's like where I love mixing.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's like the real fun stuff for me. I mean, like at first it was just like, oh look, I can put a delay and I can make it echo forever, and now it's like, that's the stuff that I really have fun with.
Right. I mean, well, this is stuff that you guys didn't even know was in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's
Like,
that's what I love.
yeah, being as like now you listen to it, you're like, oh, well, that was like a thing that was like decided upon. I mean, you go to the earlier verse, there's no that just isn't in there, so it's not really like there is no piano there, you know, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Wow. But anyways, so okay, so that's piano and guitar overall. Let's jump to the vocal. The vocal's kind of a fun one.
We can do that. Now.
So on this, you'll see that there's not a ton of processing on 90% of these vocals. Almost none, actually. The lead's got a good amount of stuff going on, but actually most of what you'll see on the lead is actually a ton of automation. And I don't mean like like level automation. I mean, if you flip down the little automation thingy there so you can add new tracks, just do it a couple of times and then just set them to the various mutes for, that, go to mute, go to mute, go to mute. And some of them have a bunch of level automation as well, but here you'll get an idea of what's going on here.
That's my most typical automation, is just muting and unmuting things.
Right. So what we've got here is we've got a lead vocal. It's got a little bit of automation on it, nothing too crazy in terms of level.
Yeah.
If I were to do this in 2016, I would have massive vocal automation on this, and it would sound way smooth, and it'd be crazy, and it'd be cool. But again, this was done a while ago. So let's cue up this vocal, and let's pull up. Actually, let's just start with queuing up this vocal, and then kind of looking at the doubles and that kind of stuff that go with it before we jump into all the effects.
Okay.
So what's the first thing that's on there? The one you don't have, is that a VCC?
Yeah, VCC and a Studer.
Okay. So the VCC, I think I had just gotten it before I did this record, and I put it on freaking everything.
Mm-hmm.
I've not used it since. So cool, but I just don't really care that much.
Back when
The
me and
Studer,
Steven Slate were buddies.
yeah, I know. The Studer A800 though really rounded out the low mids and the lows in this vocal, because Rob's voice itself doesn't have a ton of lows in his vocal.
No, it
It's
doesn't.
it's a very smooth, very clean voice, but I just wanted a little bit more thickness out of it. So since we don't have it, we'll just pretend that there's a little bit more low mid in the vocal.
Okay.
And then let's go to the Q10.
All right.
So a little bit of presence in the top end, and then try to put in more of that low into his vocal. It obviously wasn't there. I think on my A800 I also have like a high pass setting in there too, so it kind of does an interesting little resonance high pass.
Nice.
So it didn't really need corrected EQ. It just needed a little bit of love to make it a little bit.
Well, that's because you guys like, from what I remember from last week's conversation, you picked the microphone that you exactly wanted to use for it. You had the luxury of doing that because I gave you a couple different choices, which is just awesome.
Microphones, yeah. So I didn't put in a bunch of corrective stuff, which is cool. Although usually I don't use Q10 for boosting at all. So I'm not really sure why I did that. But boosting on the top end on a Q10 is actually really rad. So
nice.
Okay, cool. So we got that. We got a 76. Super fast release. Always makes it move a little closer to me when I hear it in terms of presence. So compression for level control, but also for distance, if you will.
Yeah.
Then we've got an EQ after that I do believe is kind of a character EQ, boosting some stuff here and there. Yeah. More the low end that we didn't have, but there's also a high pass on there. There's some good bit of a resonance in the high pass too. So boosting more the low end. Boosting 1200, and this is because the reference mixes, some of that Jimmy Eat World stuff, some of that Death Cab, and some of that Coldplay stuff, has a very mid-range heavy vocal.
Okay.
It's really like, it almost sounds it basically sounds like someone's taken 1K, 1.2, somewhere around there, and just boosted it crap load at it.
Yeah.
And it sounds good in the context of those records. It makes the vocal just very clearly sit in this space right here, and nothing else sits on top of it, which is really cool. Generally, I wouldn't have done something like this, but by using these references, I was like, okay, they've done this, and it puts the vocal in a very particular place that doesn't seem to get stepped on or set on in any way.
Right.
So let me try it out. And I did, and it happened to work really well. I mean, if you want to A/B this with and without this EQ, level matching it might be a little bit complicated, but if you do that whole Command C, you're done, you'd be in a good spot.
Say that again. Command what?
Command Shift C copies the plugin settings.
Okay.
If you hit Command Shift C, pull the output level down a touch just to make sure we're level matched, and then we'll play a little bit of this vocal with and then without this EQ, just to hear what it does with that mid-range boost.
Okay. I'll turn this down just a touch.
It's okay if you stumble or can't shoulder the weight. The best intentions turn the biggest mistakes. It's a part of life that you cannot escape.
Wow.
It's
you can really hear that mid-range.
if you stumble or can't shoulder the weight. The best intentions turn the biggest mistakes. It's a part of life that you cannot escape.
God, his voice is so vibrant.
It's so consistent
You
too.
can read that. It's kind of wacky, right? Like it almost seems wrong, right? It almost seems like it's better without it.
It's a strange. His voice is just so particularly like, it's almost like his vocal cords, like he sings within like of his vocal cords have like these these like harmonics that are getting released. You know what I mean? Like, because when he sings, you hear his voice, but then you also hear these harmonics underneath too, and it's like his voice and his harmonics are like perfectly harmonizing somehow. It's super strange. I can't even describe it, but it just sounds like he's got a distortion pedal on his voice for some reason. You know?
Right.
Yeah, that was super weird, but that's how I feel about it.
I get it.
It's
That's crazy, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. So from here, see, you've got this. What is this? Oh, Massey. De-esser. Aha. So I've got this Massey de-esser here. Apparently, I've got the demo of it, but it's probably not set to the thing that you actually What's that?
Just pull the reduction down to like 4 or something, and you're probably pretty close.
Pull the frequency down to what?
No, pull the reduction to 4, and you're probably
okay.
pretty close.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a bit of S's going on, and that's kind of the compressors pulling that out, especially with the super fast release. It's kind of making it a little bit louder.
Yeah.
So this kind of cleans that up a little bit.
Nice.
And then the C4 at the end, we boosted a lot of lows, so keeping a little bit under control here dynamically, as well as adding a little bit of presence on the top and using the dynamic EQ of it to kind of make sure it doesn't get out of control with any sibilance or anything like that.
Very cool. That's awesome, man. That's a pretty good rundown. I mean, we've got some more stuff in here. You've basically just got the same type of EQs all over these background vocals, right? These are just slamming with a Slamming with a what's that?
The background vocals are slammed, and they're high pass, super high, and some of the top end is taken out. And this is because you just don't need that in doubles, right? So these are wide doubles. So if we cue up all 3 of these, so the left, right, and the main lead, and just take a listen.
We'll hear why.
okay if you stumble or can't shoulder the weight.
Wow.
The best intentions turn the biggest mistakes. It's a part of life that you cannot escape.
Damn.
Yeah.
Those doubles are
butter.
so on point. It's annoying.
Yeah, dude.
He's
Jesus.
very particular.
I love it though. I absolutely love it. I think it's super rad. Yeah, man.
Should we take a quick peek at the whole mix bus?
Yeah, sure.
That's okay.
Well, actually, before we jump to that, one of the things I kind of wanted to jump into is the effects on that vocal.
Okay.
I'd love to take that lead vocal and drag it to just above these effects.
Sure.
Yeah, just drag that to right above it. You have a lot of stuff selected. You moved a lot of tracks, not just one.
Oh, whoops. My bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did I just fuck up?
Rob SO17, one just below the currently selected one. There you go. Pull that down to just below Group Fox. Below Group Fox. There you go. Huh?
Boom.
There you go. Cool. All right. So I don't know what this other one is that we pulled down with it. We don't need the other one. Okay. So
See you later. All right.
as we go through the song, you'll notice that like you can actually just drop your cursor in certain places or on these certain markers or in between the markers really.
Yeah.
And you'll see that the sends turn on and off for different sections of the song. So if you move your cursor around, like to somewhere else,
Oh yeah.
Specifically when you get to choruses and bridges and stuff, totally different effects are used during different sections of the song. And the idea here is that we can create movement, we can create intimacy by adding more reverb or no reverb or just stereo widening with no verb, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The best example of this kind of stuff is in a lot of the John Legend records, where there will literally be an overdrive on John's voice until it needs to sound incredibly intimate. And it's just a touch of it. It's just a little bit, just enough that you notice when it's gone. You don't really notice it when it's there, but then as soon as it goes away, John's voice goes from here to being like right up in your face.
I see.
So kind of the same idea, but as you go through the song, different effects are on and off, and that kind of creates a movement, moving forward, moving backwards, moving for intimacy and stuff like that. There's definitely a couple spots. I know there's like a whisper here and there that's totally dry, no effects whatsoever.
Yeah.
A couple things like that. So yeah, if you want to jump into the master, we don't really need to go nuts on this stuff.
I'm incredibly impressed at how simplistic this mix is and how good it sounds, Ryan. I mean, I know you're feeling like, man, I did a sloppy ass job. I'm talking to Back to the Future Ryan John right now. I know that's what's going through your head right now. But I'm just super impressed with how simplistic it is in comparison to how many concepts we've actually taught over this like year and some odd months that we've been doing this, year and a half almost. It's kind of crazy, kind of wacky actually. So the master,
I think it stinks.
I think it sucks.
It does suck. It sucks bad. So
Oh,
the master,
no.
I've got the BX Solo on there, and I've just gotten used to mixing with the BX Solo on the master.
Yeah.
I've had it on there for years at this point. It's just one of the things I just put on really early on
Yeah.
to get myself a little bit of extra width. And it's just something I just put on super early, and I leave it there, and I mix into it so that I know how wide I'm getting.
Yeah. You said that you put it on pretty early on in your mix because it really screws with your balance if you don't.
Yeah, if you put it on really late, your balance is like all sorts of like what the hell's happening. Like as soon as you put it on, things that are panned hard just get really loud, and it seems really weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's annoying. So I try not to do that.
Crazy. That's crazy.
After that is a Q10. The Q10 is just boosting some mid-range. So this was a point where I was like, okay, let me compare this to my references. How am I doing? And this is one of those spots where I go, fuck, all my blends are really good, but I have a little bit less low mid than my references.
Yeah.
And I cut out probably a little too much of the harshness and things, so that my upper mid-range and the kind of aggressiveness is a little bit narrow.
Yeah. Now, is that really it? I mean, you had an insert on here and a trim, but when you submitted this to the band, you're like...
Submitted it with exactly what you're looking at.
Wow.
so actually, you know what? I lied. There's one extra thing. So that hardware insert 7.8, is my dangerous bus compressor.
Ah, I see.
And the dangerous bus compressor is doing 1 dB literally off of it.
Okay. Crazy.
Nothing else that's on here is actually on. It's just kind of so I can listen to things. So if we scroll up to the top, if it's still there, oh no, the prints are now below this. Okay. So the print, that first one, is exactly this mix.
Got it.
With the Q10 and the BX Solo on it. And then that print feeds into the master, which is right below it. And that's not a proper master. That's just a pseudo master. So I can send it to the band, and they can play it right next to their favorite songs, and they can compare.
Got it.
So if you want, I don't know if you happen to have something that you could play this up against, Dan, but if you want to play a section of this song and play something that you might have in your iTunes that would potentially be a good reference for this, we could do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
I don't know if can your iTunes play through here?
I think so.
Or if you want, you can just drag and drop something into this.
Yeah, let's do that. That's a better idea. Go into my music.
Or anything like that. And then once we're done with that, we'll go over toms, because Randy has asked many times if we can go over the toms. You do not have a lot of stuff on you, man.
That's really strange. I bought a bunch of stuff. I don't know where it all is.
Yeah, it's all like cloud-based, isn't it?
That's annoying.
All right, well, I guess we can't do that. All right, let's not.
I had a bunch of references in there. Really bizarre. Strange. Okay.
All good. You know what, let's just go to the toms and then kind of close it out.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
So the toms in this session, man, you're gonna laugh at that.
Wow, that's some sloppy shit.
So you don't? Well, no, because you don't have my edited version of it.
Oh.
My toms are all manually edited. On my screen, I have that. You, I guess, don't.
Nope, I don't.
Wow. Well, that's going to be really interesting sounding then. Let's edit a couple of them. Let's go to maybe C2, that marker. Farther. There you go. Let's do that C2 half right there. Okay. Let's do some quick editing of these toms. Solo that up and let's listen to it.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Let's stop there. Dan, why don't you go through and do a quick edit on these, same way I would as well, because I'm pretty sure you and I do it exactly the same way.
We do.
I do all the muting afterwards because it's just faster.
Oh yeah. Good
Yeah,
cool.
so make an edit point there or something. And are those actual tom hits? I think they are.
These little guys?
Yeah.
These are bleed from this tom.
What? I mean, you've got actual hits there, though. There you go. That's a hit. And the one that you've muted on the right is also a hit.
This guy? Oh, this
Nope,
guy.
right.
Oh, my bad.
Yep, that's it.
Very
There
cool.
you go. And mute that center section. And do crossfades on all of them. Except, yeah, let's just do some crossfades on all of them. So we do fade outs on all of them. Not like that. Don't do it like that. Cancel. Let's do this manually real quick. Go to that first tom track.
Okay.
There you go. And put it on grid.
Yep.
Okay. Now do it. There you go. And you want to make your default fade a curve. Yeah. That one. Cool. Okay. Yep. And we're going to do the exact same thing to the remaining tom hits. Except I actually do it to every hit. So even if there's two hits in a row, I do it to those as well. Yeah, that. And I'm going to pull that to the grid. Yeah, there you go.
Interesting. I like this. And then you go all the way in here, and you actually bring this all the way in as well, right? Or do you leave it?
Well, so make your grid view more detailed. Actually, make it add in. What am I talking about? What do you want? Half note, go to quarter note. Cool. Definitely not that much. Quarter note. Cool. Now make all your fades line up to quarter notes. So that one, you're good there. Yeah, cool.
Cool.
The other one, the one that's on the right, pull that out a little bit so you get a little bit of decay. There you go, cool. That one, pull it out so you get a little bit of decay. Okay, cool. Let's pretend that's a perfectly edited tom section. Let's do it for the section below it too, the tom below that as well.
Sounds good.
You should probably set your default curve to that so you don't have to do it manually every time, you know?
Yeah, I've had to reinstall my Pro Tools so many times these days. I always forget about that shit. Apparently I haven't edited toms since last time I installed Pro Tools because I would have totally caught that shit.
Let's listen to this section here.
Sure.
After that floor tom that's on the second one is not actually a floor tom. I don't think that's actually a hit. Just cue it and listen.
Boom.
Or don't listen to it. Okay.
Cue it and don't listen to it?
I said cue it and listen to it, but then you muted them. It's fine.
I did the exact opposite. Okay.
You did. Anyways, just mute them. They're probably not snare tom hits, but I was just saying listen to them so then you'd know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than going from visual. Yeah, it's a snare hit, so mute all that.
Got it.
Okay, cool. So now we've got a edited tom track, right?
Right.
Okay. Sorry, every time I start answering something in the chat, I have to like stop doing what I'm doing here.
At least Wave's coupon code isn't here talking about dildos anymore.
Yeah.
That's true.
Cool. Anyways, so make a selection here. Now you've got super cleanly edited toms, right?
Yep.
At this point, we've got ultimately two important plugins here. Let's bypass both of them. Let's look at what's going on in the API.
Okay.
You can see it's pretty heavily fucking EQ.
Yeah, dude, I love it.
Pretty gnarly. Plus, I think I boosted the output level just because I wanted to hit the compressor after it really hard. So in terms of this is not going to be a great test because it's just irrelevant in terms of like level.
Yeah.
But if you just want to see what's going on EQ wise, you can actually listen to it. So if you want to play without it and then play with it, I realize it's going to be a messed up level jump, but we can survive.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty well recorded toms. They're pretty clean. Like, the bleed is not bad.
It's pretty impressive, man. Those toms sound really fucking good.
So subsequently, I get to get away with doing crazy shit like that and then put a compressor on it that accentuates the attack. So the compressor that's on here now is only there to accentuate the attack. You'll see the attack is as slow as it goes, release is super fast, so the attack becomes super large, and then your decay becomes longer. But since you've manually edited it, you have a decay that's going to control in time with the song since you've done this to a grid.
That's awesome. Let's take a listen to that. Because somehow I zoomed all the way to the other side of the session. I don't know how that happened. There we go. Love it.
Nothing too crazy, right?
Yeah, nothing really too crazy.
So I didn't add any augmented anything on the 4-tom because it just didn't need it. There weren't a lot of fills that had crazy bleed. Whereas if you go to the rack tom, if we go up one to the rack tom, let's find a couple proper hits on that. I don't know if he's hitting it. It looks like it's hitting it there. Okay, but there you go. There's a couple drum fills that we saw later. Let's use the drum fill ones because those are while the rest of the kit's going.
Like this guy?
Yeah, solo that up. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can hear that there's pretty gnarly bleed there, right? So I did the manual editing there as well.
Yep.
So why don't you edit those two real quick? That's going to be too short in my opinion. So let's go to the next hit. There you go. Edit, and then pull the fade back, and then put that curve in. Okay, and let's just mute the whole rest of the tom track just to make this simple for now. There you go. So now let's listen to that real quick. So you still got a bunch of bleed, right?
Yep.
All right, this is where we're going to use a sample from later to get to it. So let's go to the end of the session.
Okay.
And let's pick one of these. It sounds great. That one.
Third one.
Take the third one and tab to the next drum hit. Do a fade out on that. A little bit. Yeah, it should be fine. Yep, cool. Hit OK. Consolidate that region. Cool.
Done.
Now let's option drag that down to the track below. Oh yeah, copy. Yeah, why not? That works too. Copy. Okay, cool. Now let's mute the rest of that tom track again because we wanted it muted for this weird example. Cool. Now let's go to that spot and let's do a tab to transient and a paste and a tab to transient and a paste, but we're going to do it on the track below it. There you go. Now let's listen to what we've got in terms of sample plus actual rack. So that was not both of them solo. We're only hearing one. There you go. Hit it again.
A lot more punch.
So now we've got tons of punch, and if we want to, we can pull back the edit on that first one so that the decay is, kind of alleviated. Personally, I like if I'm going to use samples, I'll actually. No, I don't mean on there. Don't touch those. Those have got a perfect decay.
Okay.
Because we've already edited those. On the one above it, you can make that whole section shorter because you don't want that cymbal hit in there.
Oh,
right?
Make this shorter.
Yeah, and you'll probably get away with it because you've got a full decay on the track below.
I see. Okay.
Okay,
Let's
so let's
listen
do it again.
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
Okay. So
Nice.
what we've got here is ultimately we've got perfect attack, perfect decay off the samples. But, I mean, I'm sure you guys all know about machine gunning and stuff, right? If you've got long drum fills and snare fills and tom fills where you just use the same sample over and over and over again for all the hits,
Yep.
it never sounds real, never sounds natural.
It's true.
But if we can do this, we can augment the ends of it with perfect quote-unquote sounding stuff. But ultimately, we didn't have to use the same sample for both. We could use two different ones. But also leave in the original one so that there is some sort of variance. And now you listen to it in context, you don't have to worry about the bleed, and you can EQ the crap out of that sample if you want, which I'm sure I did if you look at the EQ that's on it.
That is awesome, man. Yeah, I typically always use them to like accentuate attack and body and impact, but I never thought about using it to hide the bleed of the sample of the actual recorded drums in the session. That's fucking brilliant. I love it.
I don't know about
50.
brilliant, but it's pretty cool.
It's clever and slick as fuck, which is pretty much
so,
defines you sometimes.
If you want to mute the floor toms in this section and just listen to this tiny bit in context, that would work out.
Mute the floor toms, listen to it in context. Got it.
Yeah, mute the floor toms just because they're wide open and there's going to be a whole lot of bleeding crap in them. But yeah, you
Sure.
just want to listen to just this drum fill in context, like from a little bit before it through into the chorus with the click.
Okay. Put that down. Oh, there's another track playing up here.
That sounds crazy, though.
I was like, that sounds fucked up. Shit. Here we go. Yep. And then let's put in the rack tom. Pops right out. I love it.
Yeah.
That's cool as fuck.
Ultimately, that's why we have a sample session at the end of any session we do, so that we can do things like that.
I love it.
Yep.
It's very cool. Awesome.
Anyway, so that's the toms. I mean, I didn't really do anything crazy. I EQ'd them, and I added a comp to add attack to them, but not really for anything else.
Yeah.
And I edited the crap out of them.
Yeah,
They're
man.
very cleanly recorded. The racks have more bleed than the floors. The floors were fine, so I didn't have to worry about bleed at all. Which is rare. Usually it's exactly the opposite. Usually the floor toms are just ride cymbal for days.
Yeah. Can you remember if there was anything in here that you were kind of back and forth on towards the end of the mix?
Back and forth. As in, like, unsure if I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it was that vocal EQ, that mid-range boost.
Yeah.
Actually, if you want to go to a chorus here, and then we can turn off that mid-band on that vocal just to hear what it sounds like with it on, and then with that mid-band back at 0. Not that one. We moved the vocal all the way to the bottom, remember? There you go. The bottom one. The bottommost one. Below that, there you go, that guy. So this was one of the things that I was very, very up in the air on. I didn't know if I wanted to do. And as I was saying, like, when I turned it on, I was almost like, it sounds better without it on, but it fit better with the references that I was kind of trying to compete against.
So you're talking about these two guys right here?
The low mid one, not the high mid. High mid's fine. The low mid one, just do a Command-Shift-C to copy the plugin setting, and then we'll... What did you just do? There you go. Did you copy the setting before you did that?
My C key is broken. I forgot.
Okay. We'll just get an idea of what that value is. What is it, like plus 4, plus 5, something like that?
Yeah, it's plus 6.
Okay, cool. That's probably somewhere close to it. So this was a hard one because, as I said, like when I first heard it, I was like, I don't think this actually makes it better. I think it actually makes it worse. I don't think I like it.
Yeah.
But in the context, it makes the vocal so clear and so just kind of flat in your face right here that it made sense to keep it in. So I'd be down if you want to play a section of this song and then zero out that low mid and then put it back and then zero it out and then put it back just to hear how it changes where the vocal sits. Okay. So maybe zero it out right now, so hold Option and click it.
Got it.
Does option clicking that not set it to 0?
I meant I turned it off. Not what you wanted.
What do you mean you turned it off?
This setting 1200 goes from 1200 to off.
Oh, okay, yeah, then that's fine. You can just totally do that. Yeah, sorry, I forgot that had an off.
Yes.
Cool. So let's listen with it off, and then turn it on, and then turn it back off. But start with it off.
Okay. Yeah. Holy shit! It pops right out.
Yeah, so play that start section again.
Sure. Yeah, man. That's awesome.
So in the end, I was like, shit, it totally makes sense. It has to be there, and it needs to be there. Even though when it was soloed, it didn't really feel right. But it gives it this kind of this vocal tone that's something I've never really, before doing this record, which is at this point years ago, never had been able to figure out, which was how to just kind of put a vocal very flat and very just in the center and just there. And nothing else can possibly sit on it. It just doesn't seem to happen because nothing else has got that range pushed in it at all.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is
Was there
awesome.
anything else you were unsure on?
I don't think so. I think everything else kind of came together. This is one of the simpler songs in that whole record. Some of the other ones were kind of rough, like that song "Rhythms." I hated it when I first heard it. I was like, this just doesn't feel good. It just kind of, I don't know, pushes and pulls. It doesn't really like have a groove to it.
Yeah.
But after going through the mix on it, I was like, holy shit, this is like one of my favorite songs now.
Yeah, that's a great
It was one of those things of just kind of achieving a groove. This song came together very, very easily for the most part.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Great.
Love it. Cool. Well, that was a lot of content. Damn. A lot of
It
talking.
was a lot. We went along. And any
love it.
questions from anybody else? And any kind of, I don't know, suggestions?
10 seconds to answer.
Do better.
Cool. Well,
Kenny,
Yeah.
was there anything in here surprising to you? Or was there anything in here that's like weird or, I don't know?
No, it's just like we were saying. It's a lot more basic than I thought it was, which I love. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's nothing too crazy. It's a lot of little detail automation happening here and there, but it's not like it's happening all the time.
yeah.
It's just kind of managing track counts like that. Alan has asked if we could just hear the whole mix, so if you want to play, I don't know.
Yeah, we can close it
How
out
about-
with that.
Yeah,
From like the bridge to the end.
yeah, bridge to the end and just bypass everything that's on the master there.
Do you want me to
maybe
just play the print?
Oh, I was gonna say play the print of the master, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Bypass that stuff. Here we go.
It's okay if you stumble or can't show me the way. The best intentions turn the biggest mistakes. It's a part of life that you cannot escape. It's okay if you stumble or can't show me the way. The best intentions turn the biggest mistake. It's a part of life that you cannot escape.
Cool. Very cool, guys. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So we
What
want
do
to
you-
thank you guys for coming out. Sounds like we got a lot of content going. We hope that you guys have fun mixing this track. I know Ryan had fun. I don't know if he had as much fun reviewing it after realizing all the stuff that he didn't do, or he thought he should have been doing, or I don't even know. But I think it's okay. It sounds fucking amazing, dude. But yeah.
Ryan, are you
Yeah.
saying in the chat right now? So you saying you mixed it to the 32 float?
I would think so. Because I was doing this on Pro Tools HD without HD hardware, so it's not in fixed point math.
Okay.
So at that point, it is floating point, and then getting into and out of plugins, like even if the plugins are 24-bit, you still have like a way larger headroom than the actual mixer shows you.
Yeah.
Basically, the easy way to test this is if you take a piece of audio, put a trim plugin on it that boosts it 12, put another trim plugin on it that boosts it 12, put another one that boosts it 12, you'll end up in like crazy distortion land, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then take another trim plugin and set it to like minus 60 or whatever it is you boosted, and it'll be absolutely perfectly clear.
Oh, I never thought of it like that.
Crazy.
So
We should,
yeah, that's plugin architecture in the plugin world. You can do that kind of stuff. You just can't do it when you hit any outputs or any sort of hardware or anything like that. That's where it just gets nuts. But if you do it using I don't know. Some plugins just can't handle it. It all depends on the plugin. Some plugins are very fixed. Like if you hit them hard, they just go nuts.
Crazy.
But yeah, that's why you can get away with doing wacky stuff within plugins. As long as your actual gain structure for everything coming out from the end is good. I enjoy hitting my plugins hard. Depending on the plugin, some of them sound way better that way.
Yeah.
nice.
Apparently,
awesome,
you've
man.
got something saved and something I don't know, something with two things we're playing at the same time. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like you've got the master solo saved.
Yeah.
Oh well. Whoops.
Whoops.
Dan doesn't care. He's like,
I don't give a fuck.
Sorry, it was just the last run through. Anyways,
No, totally
that's kind of the overview of how this song got mixed and how it got kind of put together. It's pretty neat, and it's a great song. And we've got how many days left till the end of this mix contest?
We've got 6 days left until the end of the mix contest, August 9th, 11:59 p.m. Get your submissions in. We might send around a reminder, let everybody know that they can still get the weekend to mix this thing. And we wish you guys good luck. Make sure to send them to mixwednesday@gmail.com. Posting them on SoundCloud and posting them in that comment section is rad that you want everybody to listen to your mix, but just make sure you shoot them over to me as well, or us at the Gmail there, just because I don't want you guys to miss out on possibly winning some rad plugins from Boss Digital Labs. So
I'm actually
And-
surprised nobody is using Boz's plugins to do this,
I'm sorry?
yeah,
or nobody's really talked about using Boz's plugins on this track.
Oh, yes.
You know what? I might actually see if I like doing a new mix of this song before this contest ends, just to see what it sounds like against the old one.
that'd be fun, man. I'd love to hear that.
You guys gonna do one? Kenny, Dan, you guys gonna do them?
I'm gonna try to, for sure. I want to. I really love the plus 10 dB compressor, the Compex. So I think I'm gonna go for it. I just have to, get the time, and I think I got some time now that I'm working on. I don't have much to work on anymore after I submitted that mix to the band. So we'll see.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, thanks everybody for attending, and yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Well, thanks for coming out. We'll be doing this again next week. I probably won't be able to judge everybody's stuff by next week, but we'll see. And
Yes.
if you have any more questions about this stuff, go ahead and ask them, post them in the Facebook group. If you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. You'll see any updates about videos that we have coming in the future. And like I said, we have a blog up on WordPress.com with a post that I did and posted the other day. More to come on that from myself, Kenny, and Ryan John.
We have an email list now.
Yeah.
We're pretty legit.
We're like pretty legit.
So we appreciate all your guys' support and coming along for this ride with us and having fun doing it, learning
man.
tons of shit every week. And have a great week.
All right, guys.
Cool. Peace.
See you later. And remember, go fucking mix. Bye bye.
Tell ya.